This kind of truly was not what I was expecting, but in the best way. And that's kind of exciting. I've got my obligatory mint tea. Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're kind of just trying to speed read because essentially I have a book event on Friday. Today is Wednesday. I have a book event on Friday and there's some authors there doing a Q&A. One of the authors in question is Lucy Vine. Plan is to read this book and read one of our other books by Friday. Can we do it? I have no idea, but we're gonna try. I started this I think yesterday or the day before, and I only read a little bit because I was reading multiple books at a time and I thought, let's just finish some of these books instead of having like 3 books on the go because it gets confusing and, you know, we just need to wrap some of these books up. I finished all those books this morning and we now just have this one. I think I'm about 10% through. Editing Ella coming in here, I just realised I never actually said what the book was called. You can see, I guess, but it is Date with Destiny by Lucy Vine. I think you're all mime readers. Essentially, from what I've read so far, the FMC is called Ginny. She's like in her 30s and she's just been through a breakup and she's kind of lost, doesn't really know what to do, what direction to go in. And she's having a bit of a rough time and that's kind of where I've got to. Like I said, I'm not very far into it, but I'm enjoying the vibe so far. We're going to continue this and I will keep you updated, let you know my thoughts, and fingers crossed I can read this whole thing today because that is my plan. This is Race to Friday. Can I read 2 books? Because I have a busy couple of days as well, so can we do it? I think we probably can, but we gotta get reading. What I love specifically about this book and books written by British authors in general is like the relatability factor of things they include. Like David Walliams has been mentioned, British shops have been mentioned, the tube's been mentioned. It's just very British coded, and because obviously I feel like we read a lot of American books and that's not a bad thing, but it's just like nice to go back to the roots, you know? And this is just the British vibes. I'm also really enjoying it because it feels very real. The characters feel very real and relatable and realistic, and I like that. Essentially, so Ginny's broken up with her fiance, wedding's off, like they're not gonna happen. She works at a family business, which is like a jewelry store, and they're trying to get a new jewelry designer in. So he comes in and there's like it's not really flirty vibes, but there's like a very small like potential, right? So he comes in and it's like tiny little sparks here and there, and then they get a call that the aunt is in hospital, and he's like, I'll drive you, get your sister, I'll drive you. And for some reason, Ginny's sister seems to think that this jewelry designer guy is some celebrity. Like, he looks like some celebrity, and he's like, no, I'm not a celebrity. So we're gonna see. I'm really enjoying it so far, though. It's just good vibes. It's really good vibes. I'm pretty sure that was all a dream. I'm so confused. There was like some psychic character. I don't know, I need to get further in, to understand. But it's unique, it's got a bit of a unique concept, and I'm liking that. I've officially hit the 50% mark. I'm 53% through. Switched over to my Kindle. I had to have a little nap as well. I was like struggling to keep my eyes open, not because the book's boring, but just because it's hit that time. When it hits like 3 p.m. and I'm just at home all day, I get very sleepy. So I just want to reiterate the point. This really just showcases realistic friendships and relationships, and the fact that it's set in the UK, like I feel like I relate to this on a deep level, even though the characters aren't necessarily even relatable for me because they're in their 30s. It's a very chatty book, and not a whole lot is going on. Like, there's not like loads of major plot points. It's quite slow paced, but it means that you really get to focus on the characters and the friendships and the relationships between them, which I actually really like, and I haven't read a book like that in a while, and I'm really enjoying that, like, magnifying glass on the characters, their thoughts and feelings, and I'm enjoying that. It's really well written, it's very unique, and it's got an interesting tone to it, and it's interesting to read. The words are interesting to read, and I'm enjoying it from that perspective. And I feel like the way it's written would only work in this type of book. Like, listen to this, for example. Sometimes my brain feels like it's a washing machine. One of those fancy washing machines with like 15 settings that no one really understands or uses. Like sports or denim. I mean, what does any of that mean, really? What does a sports cycle do? Whatever, I think that's what's happening in my brain right now. My head is on some kind of confusing spin cycle where I know that something is going on, but I couldn't tell you what. And like, the whole book's kind of written like that, and it's just, it wouldn't really work in any other book, but it really works here. Like, the story, the characters, the like beach read rom-com, except it's set in the UK, so it's not like a beach read. Like, you could read this any time of year, but it's that mindless passive reading that's just engaging for the words on the paper but not the plot. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, I feel engaged by this, but the plot isn't so full and like bursting with excitement, but I'm kind of into that. I'm really kind of into that because it feels normal and realistic and not that like over the top, almost cinematic book experience that sometimes you get in a summer romance. And like I said, this isn't a summer romance, but this is a sort of book that you would read on holiday in a day. I'm not on holiday, but I'm gonna read it in a day. So do with that what you will. I just finished. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera down. We're gonna have a proper chat because I really enjoyed this. Because spoiler, I really enjoyed this book. Okay, this kind of truly was not what I was expecting, but in the best way. Let me tell you why. Looking at this at like face value, this isn't your typical romance book. Like, to me, this wasn't like properly the romance genre. It felt more of a kind of contemporary fiction rather than a romance, because there wasn't a huge romance plot. For me, this book was a depiction of girlhood. Like, the friendships between the people in this book was just like heartwarming and realistic and real, and it felt comforting in that way. And yeah, emphasis on the fact that this book literally felt like girlhood to me. Like, it gave me the same feels that the Barbie movie gave. Just like quickly what this book is about, because I feel like I didn't really have an idea and explain it very well at the beginning. So, girl called Ginny, she's about 30. She is about to get married to who she thinks is literally the love of her life, and he calls off the engagement, and she's kind of stuck and like, well, what do I do now? And feeling very lost. She works for her mum in like a family business at a jewellery store, and her mum is very pushy, controlling, says kind of how things need to be done, and doesn't really let Ginny have any creative freedom at the shop and the business. We also kind of follow her sister and a bunch of her friends and their relationships and what they're getting up to, which kind of created a kind of found family aspect in the book. And then we meet Zach, who is introduced, and he is a jewellery designer, and he's brought on by Ginny's mum to work at the shop, and there's like a slight spark between them, but there's reasons that they kind of don't end up getting together that you don't find out until the very end of the book. But it, like I said, wasn't necessarily a romance in the sense that there wasn't a lot of romantic scenes. It was a lot more just showcasing the friendships between everyone in this book and the dynamics, and like I said, the found family. It felt like girlhood, and it really warmed my heart, and I properly escaped into this book, it was crazy. It was like, I haven't felt like that in a while, the way this was just a pure form of escapism. And I kind of repeat what I said earlier in the fact that it's very much a mindless read. There isn't that many major plot points. There are more in the second half of the book, but it's very much kind of low stakes doesn't really feel like a whole lot is going on, but you get like little details that are just really satisfying and really nice, and I can't really explain it without you reading it. The little details you get make it just feel more realistic, and I loved that. I loved all the characters. It very much showcased the fact that people aren't perfect. Like, it was giving the sort of Emily Henry vibe where the characters she writes aren't perfect. They're not, it's not like the insta love, it's not the like desirable, like these characters are real. They have flaws and they make mistakes and they have to apologise and they have to move on and they have to forgive, and I couldn't necessarily relate to the book, but if you were, I don't know, like if you were 30, if you were the age of the people in this book and going through the similar life events that these characters are going through, I would like hand on heart say you'd be able to relate to this book on a very deep level, I would imagine. This is the first book I read by Lucy Vine and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it was something a bit different and I kind of just loved that. The whole thing was kind of based around a psychic reading, so she had like 3 losses and 3 gains, and it was kind of like a waiting game. They were all slowly coming true, but that was kind of a minor plot. And I just loved it. The book felt very much full circle, satisfying, and I read the whole thing in pretty much a day, minus the first 10%, which I read a day or 2 ago. So highly recommend A Date with Destiny. I'm not sure I want to rate it. I don't think it has quite 5-star potential, but it's up there. Definitely a 4-star, but I think I kind of want to give it like a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed it so much more than I was expecting to. It was a journey. I felt mature, really. I think, like I said, the best way I can describe this book is it feels like girlhood. It just feels like girlhood, and the showcase of the friendships was like nothing I've ever read, and your heart will feel warmed by this book. And like I said, most romance books often focus on the male characters. This was the complete opposite. You barely kind of get any romance scenes. The romance is not the main plot. The romance is a subplot. That's what I'm trying to say. The romance is a subplot, and it's majority like just a fiction, I would say, a contemporary fiction, but it was funny. It was just really good. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend you read Date with Destiny by Lucy Vine, especially this summer. Feel like for a quick holiday read, this is perfect. Loved. Gonna go on to our next book. Just changed my rating to a 4.75. I really loved it. I think you probably got that, but I'm just sitting thinking, I was like, no, like this was a good book, and my eyes are watering because I'm thinking about it, and it just made my heart really happy, and we love that. Couple of hours later, literally the same day as I started Date with Destiny, but like I said, we're on a time crunch, we're in a rush. It's Wednesday evening, we need to have read these books by Friday, by like 10:30. So, on a time crunch, and we don't have to read them, but I want to be well informed for this book event where these authors are doing a Q&A. Sue me. The next book we're going to read is 7 Exes by Lucy Vine. I actually found this in a charity shop. I knew I was going to the event and I found it in the charity shop, and I was like, oh, I'm going to pick that up, because it was in amazing condition. I actually have no idea what this is about. I really hope it gives similar vibes to Date with Destiny. It's just the stickers. I got it from Oxfam if you're interested. But I don't think I said, look out on my TikTok, LAEKits.reads, for content from the book event, because I'm very excited. Esther is moaning about her love life, and she finds a magazine, and according to the journalist, there are 7 people a woman will date before finding the one. The first love, the work mistake, the friend with benefits, the overlap, the mischance, the bastard, and the serious one. So I assume she's like revisiting all the different exes, trying to figure out which one is the one. I'm excited. Like I said, I loved Date with Destiny, as you just heard me speak very highly of it. So I'm excited to try this one. Hopefully it lives up to the same hype. Date with Destiny is her new release. This is her older release. I'm excited. I'm going to give you my thoughts, as always. We're going to start it, and I will update you and let you know how I'm finding it. I've got my obligatory mint tea. I have this pretty much every evening. And we're going to settle down and start 7 Exes by Lucy Vine. Very excited. know it's getting a little bit dark, but let me just briefly explain. So it's kind of like, so Esther's basically read this article with the 7 different types of relationships that I said earlier, and she's like, I've had all my relationships, I need to go and find my exes because one of them must be the one. And the way it's written, so you've got like X1, it's giving like the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like there's 7 parts and each one is about a different ex. That's like what vibes it's giving. I didn't love the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo just because I found it very repetitive and honestly slightly tedious and boring. So I'm interested to see if I feel differently about this. But that's the vibes it's giving so far. Thought I'd update you. Next morning I thought I'd give you a little update. So essentially we're just kind of going through all of the 7 exes. They all have their own little section. And it like kind of starts with her high school first love. And it like progresses through all the 7 exes that she's had. And I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it's a very similar concept to the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I'm enjoying it a lot more than that. Because you're kind of, I feel like the 7 husbands was just like, I don't know, this is more engaging and you're following Esther through like a wider stage of her life, like literally from 16 to like where she is now, which I think I kind of prefer. Currently just on the 3rd ex. And it's funny. Again, it's like kind of Date with Destiny in the sense that it's kind of a mindless read. This probably has more of a plot than Date with Destiny, but I'm really enjoying it. And I really like how it's written because it kind of jumps between the exes and what happened with the exes, and then it jumps back to her in present day and her meeting up with the exes and trying to find the one and like talking about everything that went down. And it hasn't been totally successful so far, but I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know if she's going to choose somebody. I have no idea, and that's kind of exciting. And these Lucy Vine books, I haven't wanted to read in a really long time. Like probably like the whole of June I was struggling like in a bit of a reading slump. These books are actually making me want to read, and I'm so happy, finally. It's, I don't know, the next day or the day after. I'm actually here in Nottingham now for the event that I was reading the books for, and for me it was like, I don't know, a 2 hour quarter drive. So I put the audiobook on. I'm 80% done. I'm so close to the end. I'm really enjoying it. So we've met all the exes now, and she's kind of, I don't know, starting to make her decision. It's not so much making a decision, it's more like which one's going to work out. Because Bestie Esther is also very flawed. And again, that's what I love about Lucy Vine books, is the characters are realistic and they are flawed, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows, which I love. Anyway, I've got my books in my bag. I'm early, but like I said, I love to just leave plenty of time, and I haven't done a lot of long drives, so it was very smooth driving. It was mostly motorways, and even it was a good time. So I might suss out where I'm going, see if there's like a coffee shop near or something, and I can go and get maybe a more good morning hot chocolate or something just to wake me up, revive me, and then head over, I think. Perfect. Editing Ella coming in here. I didn't actually really film anything at the event, but I have some pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some pictures in a second. It was amazing. Thank you so much, Simon and Schuster, for inviting me. Oh my goodness, I loved it. We did forage painting, which I think I show you in the next clip. And we made bookmarks, we made friendship bracelets, we had a Q&A, we had a signing. It was so much fun. Like, I couldn't cope. It was so much fun. I met so many lovely people. So again, thank you so much for inviting me. And like I said, I'm going to put some pictures in on the next sort of slide, or it's not a PowerPoint. I'm going to put some pictures in to show you what we got up to. But I just want to say thank you again for Simon and Schuster for the invite. It was an amazing day and I loved it. It is a few days later. I am back from the book event. Let's talk about 7 Exes by Lucy Vine, because I don't think I've actually given you much about this book. I want to start off by saying, so lovely to meet Lucy Vine. She was so lovely. I'll insert a little clip of me meeting Lucy Vine and Laura Wood, and them signing my books. We also did forage painting, so because I love Date with Destiny so much. I'm not gonna lie, it's questionable, but it's unique. And also got it signed. So look, it was a great time. I had a phenomenal time and I loved it. I think I'd spoken to you when I just arrived and I had like 20% left of the audiobook because I didn't manage to finish it on my drive. I finished it on my drive back. I really loved it. And the more I'm thinking about the book, I ended up giving it 4 stars. But the more I'm thinking about it, it's been a couple of days and I kind of want to rate it a bit higher. I'm thinking like a 4.25 or even maybe a 4.5. Like, I kind of keep thinking about it. And I really enjoyed it. I think for now I'm going to say a 4.25 because there were parts I didn't like. And Esther, our main character, was slightly insufferable. Like, she was very realistically portrayed, but some of her decisions were questionable. And I think made her borderline unlikable rather than just chaotically realistic, if that makes sense. Like, they were kind of controversial. No, not even controversial. They were just immoral. Essentially, the whole book is kind of leading up to her picking one of her exes as the one and like revisiting them all and finding out which one is the one. And I will say I was kind of happy with who she picked. It wasn't who I expected, and I said to Lucy, I was like, this is who I think she's gonna pick. And she just looked at me, she was like, just wait and see. So it wasn't who I thought it was going to be, but I'm not mad at it. I think it was a very good outcome, and I really liked how the book was written. It was very fast paced. I think I kind of said it kind of gave Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibes, but I much preferred this to that book. It was light-hearted, funny, and just really almost like fresh and relatable, and I just really enjoyed it. And the way, like, I really like the ending and the way it was wrapped up and the way they dealt with the whole 7 exes. You have like 7 exes, one of them is the one, you need to find the one. And at the start I was like, that's kind of a weird concept, but the way it's kind of wrapped up and resolved in the end is actually quite funny and lighthearted. And this book felt like a full circle, and I love Lucy Vine's book and I love the focus on the friendship. And I said before with Date with Destiny, her books feel like girlhood, and I love that. I love that to my core. I really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to settle on 4.25. Highly recommend. It doesn't have very good reviews on Goodreads, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to go read the Goodreads reviews and like see why people didn't like it as much, but I really love this. I would highly recommend. So essentially I just had a little read of the Goodreads reviews. I think people just don't like the FMC, which is low-key fair. Like, the bulk positivity of my review is coming from like the concept and just the vibes that the book gave. It was very easy to read, like a great page turner. You just wanted to meet all the exes and like find out what was really going down between them, which I loved. And I can kind of see where these people are coming from, but people said the book was boring. I thought it was so engaging and such a page turner, and it was over too quickly in my opinion. So look, obviously reading is subjective and everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but I genuinely thought going into it that I wouldn't really like it that much, but surprisingly I loved it, and I'm really happy about that. I love that I had the opportunity to go to this book event because there is no way I probably ever would have read a Lucy Vine book otherwise. Even like looking at these covers, I thought like, these look, maybe they're not going to be my thing. I loved these. They're definitely more lit fic focused. This one definitely is more lit fic focused with the subplot of romance, and this one still feels, this is a romance categorically, but it does have that lit fic sort of aura about it, which I enjoyed. And like I said, I probably never would have picked these up. I am so happy that I have been introduced to Lucy Vine's writing because it's such a vibe. Like I said, her books just are the true depiction of girlhood for me, and I've come to realise that I really love that of a book, and it's something I'm definitely going to be actively searching more for because I never realised that was like the blueprint for a really nice book, and I'm really happy that I found that out through these. With that being said, I'm definitely going to read more of her books. She was teasing her new book, which comes out next year, the book event, which sounds very exciting. But I think she's got quite a few books that I can work my way through, so I'm definitely going to have to see if I can find them, pick them up if I see them, and give them a go because, like I said, I really enjoyed these. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I've inspired you to give Lucy Vine books a try. If you're going to give one a go, read this book this summer. Just, like, I have no words. This was so good, and I loved it to my inner core. Let me know if you end up reading them. Let me know if you have read them. What were your thoughts? Again, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, like if you enjoyed, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you when I see you. Bye!